Hello class, this is the video for section 1.4. It talks about circles. Actually, this is the last video for this class. Okay. Now let's look at the learning objectives. Okay, we want to be able to write the equation of a circle in a standard form. Okay, in a standard form. And then we're able to graph what the equation of a circle, and given the center and the radius, and then also write it given in a general form. You want to be able to find the center and the radius by completing the squares. Okay, so these are the three learning objectives we have. First, a circle is a sort of points in xy plane that have fixed distance r, which we call the what? Start from a point what? From a point hk. Now the point hk is the center, and then the distance r is what? Is the radius. So from this graph, as you can see, this is the center. Okay, this is the center. All right, so that's the center for the circle, and then there's a point xy on it. So to find the equation of the circle, we need to just find the distance, which is the radius. Okay, and then if you use a distance formula, okay, distance formula, which is giving us remember the square root of what? X2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. So that's a distance d between the points x1, y1, and let's say q x2, y2. So that's a distance. This denoted by d is what? The pq. Okay, we try to calculate distance between what? The 2 points. It's given by this formula. So if x1 is my x2, if this is your q and that is a p, which is the center, then it gives us this what? This equation. Okay, it's about the distance r is given by the square root of x1 minus y1, or s2 minus x1, sorry. That gives me what? X minus h all squared plus y minus k. That is a y2 minus what? Y1 all squared, where y1 is k, and then x1 is what? Is h. All right. Now, so therefore this, if you square, going back, all right, if you square both sides of this equation, then you have what? R squared is equal to x. You get r squared is equal to x minus h, okay, h all squared plus y minus what? K all squared. So if you put the equation of a circle in this form, we call it, that becomes the standard what? The standard form of the equation of a circle. So here is the standard equation of what? The circle. Okay, x minus, now notice that is what? X minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared equal to what? Is equal to r. Okay, and of course, like I said, which is the same as that. Okay, if you take the square root of both sides, then you find it, you'll be able to find the equation of what? The distance, which is the radius. That is given the center and a point on the what? On the circle, you should be able to find the radius using the distance formula. All right. Now, we have a theorem that is a standard form of equation of a circle of radius r, and the center is at the origin. If the center is at origin, that means your h is equal to 0, your k is also equal to what? 0. So in this equation, which is x minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared equal to r squared. If these are 0, then you have what? X minus 0 all squared plus y minus 0 all squared, okay, is equal to r squared. That gives us what? X squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. That gives me the special what? Special case. If the center is at the origin, okay, if the center is at the origin here, then we can find what? the circle will look like that. Okay. All right. Now, the special one is the unit circle. Okay. The unit circle when the radius is equal to what? Is equal to 1. Okay. The unit circle when the center is what? Is at the origin and the radius is equal to 1. Okay. And that gives us what? This circle. All right. So you have a center, you go to the right 1 unit, you go up 1, you go left 1, you go downward 1. So the points is going to be, this is 1, 0, this is going to be 0, 1, and this is what? Minus 1, 0, and this is 0 or negative 1. Okay. So the unit circle, don't forget, if you get to a trigonometry, okay, if you go to trigonometry, all right, which is math 127. If you are taking that, you come across the unit circle and we use it to find the angles, okay, the values of the sine and cosine and all that. So don't forget the unit circle, this is how it is. It has a radius 1 and the center is at the origin. All right, so here's take some example. Example 1, we want to write the standard form of equation of a circle, given that your radius is what? Is 6 and your center is what? Is that. Okay, so let's pause it. So we have to substitute. Your R is what? Your R is equal to 6. Okay, your H is negative 2. Your K is what? 5. Because the center is what? H comma 1 comma K. So if you compare this, your H is what? Negative 2. Your K is what? That. All right. So the standard equation is what? X minus H squared plus Y in parentheses minus K all squared equal to what? R squared. Okay, so we're going to substitute what? Negative 2 and then 5 for H and K respectively. All right, so that means that you get what? X minus, let's see, minus the H, okay, all squared plus Y minus 5 all squared. And then R is what? R squared. Okay, so what we have is that there's a negative will be what? Positive. So you get X plus 2 all squared plus Y minus K all squared equal to what? 36. Okay, so this is the standard form of equation of what? Of the circle. All right. So here you are given the equation of a circle in the standard form. They want us to find the what? Graph this. Now we can graph if we know the center, okay, and then also the radius. So if we don't know the radius and center, we cannot graph the circle. So therefore our goal is to find the center and then what? And the radius. Okay, so given the equation, okay, to graph, we want to compare this to the standard form and find the equation of what? Find the center and then the radius. Okay, so this is the equation given. Now remember, the standard equation is what? X. Okay, let's write it here. It is what? X minus H all squared plus Y minus K all squared is equal to what? R squared. So we're going to put in this form. This is a constant, so that is what becomes 3 squared is what is equal to 9. And then because we have what? Minus, it should be minus H. We got to be X, because this is plus, it is X minus 1. So that negative times negative will give me positive all squared plus Y minus 1 all squared. So if you compare this, your H is what? H is going to be negative 1. Your K is what? Is 1. And then your radius is what? Is 3. Okay, so you have for H is equal to negative 1, your K is equal to 1, and your radius is equal to what? 3. So what is the center of the what? The equation of this equation? The center will be minus 1, 1, and then your radius is what? Is this 3. Okay, so with this, we should be able to graph the equation of the circle. Okay, we should be able to graph it. All right. So like we said, the center is what? Negative 1, 1. The radius is what? Is 3. Okay. So first we plot this point, negative 1, 1, which is here. All right. Then to be able to, we know the radius is 3. To be able to graph the circle, okay, from this center, we go to the right. the what? The number of the radius, the number of units of the radius, which is what? Which is 3. We go up, we go to the left, we go to down. So if S coordinate, if I'm going up, the S coordinate stays the same, which is -1. And then radius is 3. So I go from this point, I go 1, that is 1, 1, 2, 3. So that gives me this point here. And the coordinates will be -1 and then 4 because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why we have y coordinates there. And then to the left is -1. I go left toward 3. So that is -1, 2, 3, 4. So that gives me negative what? -4. So that means S coordinate becomes -4. The Y coordinate doesn't change. It is 1. Then if I'm going down, the S coordinate doesn't change. So you go down 1, 2, 3 because the radius is 3. And that gives me what? -1, -2. And then I go to the right. Okay, again, the Y coordinate stays the same. The S coordinate changes. So from -1, you go, that's 0, 1, 2, and 3. So that gives me S coordinate is what? 2. So with this will guide us to graph what? Graph the circle as that. Okay. So we have to locate 4 points: up, down, right, and left. Okay. So here is another example. Say we should find the X and Y intercepts. Now, to find x-intercept, you substitute y equals 0 and vice versa. If you want to find the y-intercept, you substitute what? X to what? To 0. So let's follow that rule that we learned before. Okay. So like we said, to find x-intercept, you set y to 0 into the what? Into the equation. For that same equation, right? Center is -1, the positive 1. Okay. Radius is 3. Okay, so when we substitute that, what do we get? So we have for x plus 1, x plus 1 all squared, then plus 0 minus 1 all squared is equal to 9. So that gives me x plus 1 squared. Okay, this is 1. So that would be plus 1 if you square that. And then that is equal to what? It's equal to 9. So that gives me x plus 1 all squared is equal to 9 minus 1, which is what? Which is 8. And we have x plus 1 all squared. So I can take square root on both sides. Okay. If you take square root on both sides, you have what? This will be x plus 1 is equal to plus or minus the square root of what? Square root of 8, which is square root of 8 is the same as plus or minus 2 square root of what? Square root of 2. And so what is x? X is equal to -1, okay, plus or minus 2 square root of what? 2. Okay, so there are two values there. The x-intercepts are, okay, x is equal to -1 plus 2 root 2, and then -1 plus what? 2 root 2. Now 2 root 2, if you have minus, okay, -1, the first one, this value here, this is minus, not plus. Okay, this one gives us -3 point approximately 83 as I have it here, and then that value gives us what? Positive 1.83. Okay, so those are the x and y intercepts. So that's the x intercepts. There are two values. Okay, because it's a circle, you're going to cut the x-axis at two places. Then we do the same thing similar and find the intercepts, the y-intercepts. Well, x is equal to 0. Substitute into that equation. Again, what's the equation against what? X plus 1 all squared plus y minus 1 all squared is equal to what? 9. So if x is equal to 0, this gives me 0 plus 1 all squared plus y minus 1 all squared is equal to what? 9. Okay. And then that gives us 1 plus what? Y minus 1. Okay, all squared is equal to what? 9. Again, subtract 1 from both sides, you have what? Y minus 1 all squared is equal to 8. Okay, and then take square root on both sides. Okay, the right hand side becomes plus or minus square root of 8, which is plus or minus what? 2 root 2. And you have y minus 1. So this time we add 1 to both sides. The y is equal to plus 1 plus or minus 2 root 2. Okay, so the two values are, the y-intercepts are 1 plus what? 2 root 2. And the other is 1 minus 2 root what? Root 2. Okay, now these values are respectively that. Okay, are respectively that. So this is equal to 3.83, and that is equal to what do you call it? Negative 1.83. All right. So we have x and y intercepts. We can find them. We can know in the center and the radius, and then you should be able to sketch what? The graph of the circle. Okay. So that gives us what? This equation, this graph. All right. Okay. Now let us go to the general form equation of a circle. All right. It is of the form x squared plus y squared plus what? Ax plus by plus c equal to what? 0. Okay. Now remember, to be able to put this equation into the standard form, we must what? Complete the squares on both what? X and y simultaneously. Okay, simultaneously. All right. Or simultaneously. All right. Now, here's an example. We have x squared minus 6x plus y squared plus 4y plus 4 is equal to what? Is equal to 0. Now, I want you to note that, okay, let's go back. Now, notice that the coefficients, this is 1, that is 1. So in the standard form, the general form, the coefficients of what? X, before I can complete the squares, the coefficients of x squared and y squared must be equal to 1. Okay, so we have that. Now, you group the what? You determine the terms involving x and y. Then move the constant term, which is in this case is equal to 4, to the right side. And then you complete the squares and you have your standard form. Okay, so we're going to go step by step here. First, we group the what? The like terms. And that was the terms involving x and y. So we have what? X minus 6x, which is that. And then y plus what? 4y, which is also that. And then we move this to the right. And that gives us negative what? Negative 4. Now I'm going to complete the squares on each of them. Now remember, whatever I add to the right hand equation, whatever you add to the right, the left hand side, sorry, must add the same to the right hand side. Okay. Oh. So first, what we do is that you have what? Now, how do you find it? Complete the squares on this term, this group here. Okay, you take half of what? Half of negative 6. All right, you add half of half of negative 6 squared. Okay, that is the square of half of negative 6. So I have what? X squared minus 6x, and I'm going to add what? Half of that is what? Negative 3, and then squared. Okay. Don't forget I have minus 4, and I do add the same thing, plus minus 3 all squared. Then plus, I have what? Y squared plus what? 4y. Then I add what? Half of 4 is what? Is 2. Then I add 2 squared to both sides. All right. Then I add what? 2 squared to both sides. So this gives me x minus x squared minus 6x plus what? Plus 9. And this gives me y squared plus 4y plus what? 4. And this is minus 4 plus 9 plus what? Plus 4. Okay, so this becomes x minus 3 as a perfect square. And then that is y plus what? Plus 2 all squared is equal to what? Is equal to 9, because negative 4 and 4 cancel out. So now look at it. I have it in the form x plus x minus 3 all squared, then plus what? Y plus 4 all squared. Now, if we compare this to the standard form, which is x minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared is equal to r squared. In this case, your h is equal to what? Is equal to 3. Your, what do you call it, the k is equal to negative 2. Your radius is what? Because this is the same as 3 squared. So your radius is 3. Okay, so the center will have the coordinates 3, negative 2, and then the radius is what? It is 3. Okay, so that's what we have that. The center is 3, negative 2. The radius is 3. All right. Now, if you want to sketch the graph, first you plot your center. Okay, you plot the center, which is 3, negative 2. The radius is 3, so I go up, I allocate 4 points. Up, down, right, left. Okay, so from here, x is 3. Okay, y is negative 2, so I go 3 up. So that is 1, 2, 3. That gives me the coordinates 3, positive 1. And then to the left, the y coordinates stay the same. Then I go, if it's 3, that's give me on the y-axis. So that's giving the coordinates 0, negative 2. And I go down. If it is negative 2 and I add 3, that would be negative 5. So that's 3, negative 5. And then to the right, see, the y coordinates stay the same. So if it is 3 and add 3 to that, the s coordinate is what? 6. And that's why I have this point. So we're able to what? Sketch the graph of the circle. All right. Now, finally, you want to find the center and the radius. Now, notice that here the coefficients of what? The x squared and y squared is not 1. Okay. The coefficients, it should be the same all the time, but it is not 1. It should be the same, but it's not 1. So first thing is that you make the y by dividing through by what? By that coefficient. So see that is the same, 2, 2. So the first thing is that divide by what? By 2. So that gives us what? X squared plus y squared, then plus what? 4x, then plus what? 7 over what? 2 equal to 0. So we group the like terms, okay? We regroup and then move the constant term to the right. So we get a x squared plus 4x, that is the group involving the x, then plus we go y squared, and this is equal to negative 7 over what? Over 2. Okay, 7 over 2. So we want to complete the squares then. Okay, so we have x squared plus 4x. Then we add what? Half of what? 4, which is 2 squared, right? So we got that. Now, the y squared is just y. There's no other term, but we can write it as what? Y minus 0 all squared, which is the same as what? Y squared is equal to minus 7 over what? Over 2. Now, remember, we added what? 2 squared. So we add what? 2 squared on both sides. Okay, so this gives us x plus 2 all squared, then y minus 0 all squared is equal to minus 7 over 2 plus 4. Okay, so let's simplify this side. That gives us minus 7 over 2 plus what? 8 over 2. And that gives us 1 over 2. Okay, so but notice that 1 over 2 is the same as what? 1 over what? Square root of 2 all squared, because the standard form is x minus h all squared plus y minus k all squared is equal to r squared. So for me to find the radius, I should be able to what? Whatever number there, if you square it right in the what as a square, then your radius will be the base. Okay, but this is the same as if you rationalize, you get square root of 2 over 2 all squared. Okay, so the left hand side becomes x plus 2 all squared, and then y minus 0 all squared. So what's the center? The center is, as the coordinates, x coordinate is what? -2, y coordinate is 0. What's the radius? Radius r is what? The square root of 2 over 2. That's your answer. Okay. So here we just want to find the just the center and the radius. And once we have that, we should be able to graph it or find the x and y intercepts. So that is the end of what this the video. And I hope this is helpful. Thank you.